OK, moving on now. The President of Iran, Ebrahim Raisi, has been confirmed dead after a helicopter carrying him and other officials has been located following its crash in a mountainous region in the north of the country.
Well, the President was travelling in a convoy of 3 helicopters on the way back from a visit to the border with Azerbaijan.
Joining us now is security specialist Will Geddes. Good morning, Will. Thank you for joining us. Give us the latest on this situation, because overnight it seems there was a little bit of not so clear detail, should we say, about whether they'd located the crash site, whether there was communications from the helicopter. What is the actual situation?
Well, I mean, as far as we know, again, information's reasonably sketchy and we're still waiting, obviously, for a very clear picture. But from what we understand, the weather was very inclement, very foggy. To be honest, having travelled in many sort of rotary aircraft myself, usually helicopter pilots will be very cautious about travelling in that kind of conditions, because ultimately, you know, the difference between rotary and fixed wing is the chance of recovery, if everything goes wrong, is very, very slight, because it's literally going to drop out of the sky. So what happened, obviously, was the conditions were very bad, certainly up in this northwest region, obviously, of Iran, where it borders Azerbaijan. The President had been up there to look at and celebrate the opening of a new dam that had been built, and the helicopter basically lost contact and dropped. There were suspicions that he was dead. These have now been confirmed by the Iranian Red Crescent, who are the sort of the equivalent, if you like, to the International Red Cross. They went out, did a major search and rescue. Russia lent a lot of assets as well, being an ally to Iran, to try and find, obviously, and recover anybody. There was an initial communication by radio by the crew of that helicopter when it had crashed. But again, that was then subsequently lost, and they've now confirmed all the passengers dead.
Because of who it is, being President Ebrahim Raisi, obviously people will always question whether or not there was any foul play in all of this. Obviously, we can't speculate, but the fact that we do know there's a history of these sorts of flying accidents happening. Senior members of the government have died
in Iran,
in several cases in Iran. The weather was terrible, and talking about assets a moment ago, I mean, I believe that the helicopters are all quite outdated. So on the surface of things, does it look like foul play to you?
I wouldn't say. I mean, I wouldn't say it's leaning towards foul play. I mean, yes, it's in very close proximity to the recent counterattack by Iran against Israel. You know, there would be a lot of reasons for third actors, you know, third-party actors to certainly get involved. But I would say it's more down to technical failure, which sadly is always the case with the rotary wing. The second thing is the fact that the weather was terrible. As you say, you know, the helicopters were bought in 1979, and getting parts would have been very difficult as well, as Iran is under sanction.
It just doesn't seem worth it for a dam opening while you'd get into a chopper in bad weather. It seems a bit bizarre.
Well, the thing that really surprises me, I mean, having done a lot of journey management for sort of prominent individuals, you don't necessarily put people all on the same plane. So you had the President, you had the head of the Foreign Ministry, you had a lot of dignitaries on the same helicopter. So the problem is that then cuts into resilience. But Raisi didn't really have a great deal of influence overseas. He was purely domestic. The Khomeini still remains really the ultimate supreme leader in dictating what happens with Iran overseas.
So you think that there could be quite smooth sort of transition of power in terms of presidents, because the Ayatollah supreme leader is the man who effectively calls the shots?
Well, he does call the shots, yeah. I mean, what will happen initially is that the head speaker, if you like, for the parliament, certainly the vice president, and they will be involved in trying to decide exactly who is going to potentially take over. And it could be either it goes to election, which I think is highly unlikely, or, as you very rightly say, the Khomeini is going to decide. And I think there's a good chance my money's on his son, Mojaba.
Oh, there we go. Interesting. OK, Will Geddes, always fascinating to talk to you. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Will.